start off by asking something.
Okay.
If I ran a white organization and I said that if a black man dies by a white person, we're not going to protest for the same reason, but if a white man dies by a black person, we're going to protest for the same reason. Am I racist for that?
Okay, so you're a white organization of white people only.
Like
You're
Black
already
Lives
racist.
Matter. Or White Lives Matter.
White life matters. Okay. What are you
So
bringing
am I
awareness?
already
What is your
racist?
What is your platform?
Just to basically say that black people are racist, and every time they kill a white person, I should riot the streets and do all that stuff.
Okay, so if you're a white organization and you are saying that,
but we'll
white
say
people
that
are all
but a
white
black
people are
person
racist?
dies wrongfully from a white person, and I don't have a word to say about it.
Okay, so here's the thing: if your platform
No, I
is
just
as
want
you
you to answer that. Am
described,
I
then yes, you're
racist?
racist.
Am I a racist? I am.
Yeah.
So how is Black Lives Matter not a racist?
Because that's not their platform.
That is their platform.
Their platform is not the opposite of what
okay,
you
but
said.
look, actions define better than words. If you say your platform isn't like that, but you're doing it like that, you are like that.
No.
I mean, I could say, hey, I'm black, but I'm really white.
So if the actions
words don't
of
mean anything.
so you think the actions of a few people that have hijacked the group, which is not really as centralized as it
hijacked the group.
They've hijacked the movement, right? Or the hashtags.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, some people have.
No, I'm talking about the riots.
Giving
here.
different
Now, we're going to
meanings
talk
to
about Jeremy. I mean, not Jeremy. We're going to talk about Alton Sterling. Now, I mean, another guy debated in this stuff. He was handcuffed because in this stuff they say that he was sustained or they had him in control when they didn't. Now, the man had a criminal record. He was actually supposed to show up to court for not registering as a sex offender, which he failed to do, which he failed to register as a sex offender. And he had a call there. The man knew what he was in for. That's why he didn't drop to the floor. Now, I mean, people can say, well, why'd they shoot him? The guy had a gun on him. The guy had a gun on him illegally, actually. If you're on parole in that state, you're not even allowed to own a firearm until, I believe, 10 years. So I just don't understand how they got that and they started rioting from that.
So the actions, so you're basing the entire Black Lives Matter movement.
I'm not, but you want to know something? That where's Black Lives Matter when a kid named Jeremy Mardis dies from a black cop because for no reason whatsoever, the dash cam proved it. No reason whatsoever. The kid and the dad almost died. The kid had autism and he died. Where was Black Lives Matter during that incident? I get it. That doesn't have to do with Black Lives, but if you're going to fight for police brutality or whatever their new thing is right now, then you need to do all police brutality, not just black versus whites, because that is racist right there. I don't understand.
Okay, when did that incident happen?
It did happen at the end of 2015, but the fact is that no one ever heard of it.
So when did Black Lives Matter become a movement?
I don't know, but they didn't become a movement from Black Lives Matter. They've been there.
Okay, so Black Lives Matter became a movement after.
I would say that when the kid tried to grab the cop's gun, I would say that's when they started.
Was that Minnesota or wherever that was?
That's that one.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. You can't base the actions of a few to define the entire group. Do you agree with that?
But the thing is, you can't only do African Americans. I get it's Black Lives Matter, but if you truly want equality and you're truly fighting, and I believe there are new things, police brutality, if you're doing that, you can't only pick which ones you want to do because there's an African American.
Well, these are black people fighting for black equality, right? Because
but the thing is, but if it happens to a white guy, you're just going to look the other way?
No, they're not going to look the other way, but it doesn't have to do with them in that instance because their platform is
you want equality. I mean, I'm pretty 2 months ago, they were fighting for white people because they're racist. Now they're fighting police brutality. Well, if it's police brutality, then they should all have the same thing.
Okay, they're not police brutality matters. They're Black Lives
The recent ones are. That's what they're fighting
so listen. So listen to this. Would you say that they're in this country, blacks are treated differently than whites?
From what they do, yes, I would say yes.
Okay.
And it's not about minorities. Because it's proven
instead of
the poorest people can be the richest. It's about how hard you want it and how hard you work.
Where'd you go in the room to go work?
I mean, if I don't work towards a career, I don't do anything, I become part of that minority. But do I choose to? No, I don't. You can get loans out there. You can get loans to go to school. And if the poorer you are, you get more money. I've seen it at my own school, actually.
All right. So you admit that there's, let's call it, the majority of, all right, so it's a poverty issue, right? And it's
I wouldn't
also,
say no. I would. They choose to be there. I would say they
no.
choose to because we have a
You're
black
not
president now.
you don't choose to be poor. All right.
Okay,
If you're
yeah,
a kid,
actually, you do. If
all
you
right,
when you're 18,
over
you,
80,
you're
okay,
not.
over,
No, it's
all
not
right,
your
listen,
fault when you're poor before
listen.
18.
All right,
Now,
all right.
if
Look,
you're
I'll
poor
have an
when you're
honest
30 years old
conversation
or
with
something
you,
like
but
that,
don't make ridiculous statements. Over 80%
ridiculous
of black
statements. Okay,
kids are
if I
growing up
didn't,
in poverty.
no, I'm 18
They
years old.
didn't choose
I'm
to
an
be
adult
poor.
now. If I didn't go to school, what happens to
Yeah,
me?
now you're an adult. But
Yeah,
if
what
you grew
happens
up
to me?
poor, was that your choice?
And I didn't say from anything before 18. That's not. They're not
Okay,
considered
that's
poor
what I'm
because
talking
they're
about.
living with their parents.
Okay,
Now,
great.
after the
All right, so
fact,
let's
if
have
they're
a
30 years
conversation
old
about
and they
kids.
live
All
in
right, all right, all right.
minority,
Hold on. Let's have a conversation about kids. Okay.
okay,
There
kids.
there are real issues facing children who are poor in this country. Do you agree with that?
I would say white and blacks, yes.
Yeah, white and blacks. Now, it just so happens that the majority of poor people, all right, happen to be people of color or not white,
And
right?
but it's actually proven that minority white people actually can grow up the same advantage as they do and get good jobs.
Yeah, of
Get
course.
well-paying jobs.
Both can.
And it's not
Like that's
considered
all right.
white.
So that's not what I'm arguing. That's not what I'm discussing. What I'm saying is this: we need to start admitting. Let's have a baseline of what we agree on, and then we can discuss some of the issues that we don't agree on. Right?
Okay, but let me ask you this. Before we
Have you ever
start all
studied
that, if
sociology?
have I actually I was thinking about majoring in it, and I have actually, yes.
Okay. So once you take a class or two, I think you're going to have a different perspective on this because where we come from and what we're born into, what situation we're born into, is a major influence on how we become people and what kind of people we become, right? And it could be parental influence. You could grow up very wealthy, but
But I mean, you're making the excuse as they grow up in a minority. We need to change that so they won't
it's
be
not
doing this.
minority.
But the thing
I'm
is,
saying
no, but the thing is, look, if I'm 18 years old now, I have had a well lifestyle before I turned 18. But if I don't get a job and I move out and I just have a cheap ass job, I become that part of minority. So whose fault is that? Is that my fault? Or is that just the statistics fault? Or do since I grow up poor, does it give my kids a right
so.
crime to
Hold
grow
on,
up
hold on, hold on.
different?
Okay. There's no right to crime. There's no right to not do anything. Now
But
the
you're
issue is
making it
this.
acceptable because
No.
they grew
I'm
up
not
in a
making it
minority.
acceptable. Listen,
Then how come
here's the
how
question.
come majority of all the black people that say all this stuff are committing murders and crimes and stuff like that?
The
It's
majority are.
yeah, the
The
majority are.
majority are.
Majority are.
The
And there's
majority
only
are committing murders and crimes.
13% commit more crimes and murders than the whites do.
13%.
13%. And if we really had a police brutality, why aren't they fighting for the whites? Because more whites die from cops than they do.
Okay.
Is that not
So
a true fact?
here's a way that I like the way you spin that, because as per capita, blacks are shot 2.5 times more than whites.
That's not true,
So
actually.
it is.
And they did a statistic of the levels of crime committed by each
It's
race.
per capita, so that means like a percentage of what the population is. So even though whites make up the majority of the population, and they by a vast majority, right? They're 60% and blacks are 13%,
okay, but
right?
they get shot more times because why? They're committing more crimes.
Because there's 60% of them. Like I'm talking
because
about
they're
like
committing
whites.
are they not committing more crime? So if
I'm
you're
saying
like that's like saying